All right, we're wrapping up the return of the Great Pumpkin Project here. A couple small loose ends to tie up. We're going to put some seat belts in it. That's what the main focus of this video is going to be, how to put those shoulder seat belts in. It's going to hold true to 67, 8, or 9, or first gen F body cars. So if any kind of question how that goes, that's what we're going to get into mainly today. But we've also got some center caps and some lug nuts to take care of, charge the air conditioning. I think that will be the end of the list for this go around. We'll get back to work on my other toys here in the garage because that's what I'd like to do. But before we put the seat belts in, I want to show you a couple things. And what I want to start with here is showing you, to do this, you're going to need a shoulder harness, one for the driver's side, one for the patch side, if you want to put both of them in. Now, I happen to have a set of seat belts. You can find these on the interweb pretty inexpensive. I feel some people take them out because they're discolored or worn, but these are in pretty good shape still. They happen to be 1968, so I think we're going to be all right. And the other thing is, this buckle, a little worse for wear, but I got something right here I'm going to show you that'll take care of that and doctor it up. The other thing you're going to need is a couple of these little guys here. They screw to the roof of the car, so when you tie up the shoulder harness, it keeps it up nice and tidy. They make these repop, relatively inexpensive. They now make this little cover here, which covers up this end of the seat belt. Once it's all bolted to the roof, and you snap this cover over, and they actually make these now. And for the longest time, they didn't. I just happened to find these, so it's kind of cool. The other thing you're going to need are these bolts. I happen to have some, but I think they make these available to you. Or the thing in particular, it's not the thread that's rare, it's the height of the head. By the time you stack this and this cover has to snap over it, you don't have a whole lot of height here. So you really need to find these low profile head bolts to get it to work. So the last but not least, I think that kind of covers the important parts, but let's cover this here. Look at this thing here. It is worse for wear. It has seen better days. That emblem, it looks still nice. The button still works, but the cover looks kind of crappy. Buy these here repop. I think they're like 12 or 13 bucks. They aren't horribly expensive. It comes with a new button without the logo. I believe that's an available separate sticker, but I'm going to reuse that one. What it does not come with is a little metal reinforcement that goes in here and the spring for the button. So you have to recycle those out of the original buckle. These are easy to change out. I know you could probably sand it and paint it, but nah. So the orientation, you're gonna need a little tech driver kind of like so. Then the buckle here in your hand, and then the end here where the buckle slides into, we're gonna pry the sides up. There's two little plastic like locking tabs. I'm gonna pry this open. And I'll do the same thing here to the other side. If I can hold on to it. There you go. That's all it does. That's all it takes to get the cover off it. Again, we're going to recycle our GM button here. Okay. Now there's a little metal piece up here. Again, you need to recycle that. There's some kind of reinforcement. It gives it some rigidity, I think. But either way we look at it, we're going to reuse it. And I put it back together. Now, this side up, there's a little hooks here. A little hook you see right there. Hook the bottom of it. And that's it. And now, that looks 100% better. And it only took a few minutes. And I do think they make them in different colors if you want to go that route. The next thing I want to show you is over here. Now, of course, the car we're working on is a 1968 Firebird. Now, shoulder harnesses weren't mandatory or required equipment. But the good news is that car is set up just like 1969, the roof panel. This is what I wanted to show you to reassure you that what we're going for will work. But inside here on the roof frame, these two small holes, those little loops, tie into here and tie into here. That's where they're going to mount up at. Now back here in the back, that's where the shoulder harness actually attaches to the roof. These threaded holes are also in the 1968 cars. So a little FYI there for you, kind of a cool little feature. But these holes are already here and tapped. So all we gotta do is just do some, I like to call it the Braille method. Meaning you're gonna use your fingers here and you're gonna find 1, 2, 3 holes. This is where our coat hanger hook is at. It gives you kind of a point of reference. So straight back from our coat hanger, we're gonna find 1, 2, 3 holes. Do not punch out the center hole, but take a little pick and pop those through. And these, you'll be able to feel this plate here. It's a raised section because you have to imagine the headliners all installed in the car. This is going to be normal operation. Even in 1969 to install these, the headliner's already going to be on here and it's going to be pulled tight. So you have to be able to find or locate the holes. But that trim is here. You'll be able to run through here with your finger. You'll feel it raise up. You'll feel these dimples in the roof panel. And at that point, then you'll know where you need to put your holes at. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now on the pumpkin outside. Well, I have a little pick right here. We're going to go fishing. Come here from the back. I feel the raised section. I feel the little dimple here. That's got to be it, right? Oh, you're there somewhere. There it is. Now we know that thing's not very wide, so I just put holes in the headliner. Again, now if you just got done putting a new headliner in a 68, 69, you'd have to do it this way. You can't peel it back and look for it because you got to put the holes through the headliner. And the interesting part that I want to share with you is 68, I don't think I've ever seen them with shoulder harnesses. Doesn't mean it didn't have them, but I just don't think I've ever seen a car with them. But see, I'm putting these right through with no effort. The holes were already there. And the only reason I know that is when I put the headliner in, I thought it was quite odd. The holes were already punched out for this car because they don't typically have shoulder harnesses. So, but now it will. Okay, now let's find the next one. Okay. Okay. Let's go back here to the back. Now, back here in the back, if you recall, straight back from the coat hook should be 3 holes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So here and here are my holes. These are bigger, so they're easier to find. I won't pop out the center one. It wouldn't hurt if you did because it's covered up, but there's just no need to do that one. Just to be sure, I'm about 88.8% sure that the holes are pre-threaded. Because it looks like a nut welded in the roof of the 68 bird over there. Let me get this bolt to go through. Yeah, it's going right in. So, I am now 100% sure the holes are pre-threaded. Now, I guess while you have the headliner out, if you're putting a headliner in, you can make a template or take some measurements to make certain you're in the right direction. But this seemed to work out pretty good. Okay, now we're ready for the seatbelt. Now, this little plastic housing, you run the seatbelt through, then turn this little metal buckle about 90 degrees. Put your bolts through. now, okay, now once your bolts are tight, you pull this thing down, pull the belt through, snap it over it, and give it a little twist. Now I like to take the buckle and fold the metal part this way. That way gravity kind of helps keep that thing in place. Okay, there you go. Now we'll do the lap belt buckle. All right, now hopefully pull this down. Well, the problem I can foresee is stacking two seat belts. Might be a little tricky here, because I got to run both of them through the little rubber boot here. Okay. Well, all snug. Now, got those all stacked. It makes a loop like so, and hopefully that will go back through the floor and snug up. Hey, cool. Now the trick is pull that thing back through. You gotta get these pulled through that rubber sleeve. Ta-da! All right, now we have our dual buckles ready to use with our new shoulder harness. Cool. I'll go ahead and do the driver's side just the same. Now what we're going to address is this issue, and I learned why the lug nuts are doing this, where they just kind of knock the caps off. I think I've learned one of the reasons why. Yeah, that sounds horrible. Oh well. All right. Let's talk about the lug nuts first. That's the quick one. here. Okay, the problem is the little plastic caps keep popping out of these things. I had the black cap ones. Now, the black cap ones I got from inline tube. The red cap ones I got from year one. He had mentioned he thought he'd like try to go that route, but look at them side by side. The year one with the red cap is slightly taller than the ones that you can get from inline tube. I think the problem is that the studs are just long enough when you torque the lug nut down, it pops the cap loose. The only place I've lost these little goofy caps is off the front wheels. The studs are slightly longer. So options are cut down the studs or grind them down, or we're gonna try these longer lug nuts. I didn't know they were longer until I just opened the package, but I'll lay these here on the flat edge of the socket here. Get just right. It's not significantly taller, but it is taller. It's gonna help get us away from that stud. So that's that. Let's find out why the center cap's making a horrible noise. Take that thing off first. It appears it just came loose, but the stud's still tight. Now the unfortunate thing, it didn't necessarily come loose, but the threads are almost worn off right where the nut was residing. This material must just be too soft. This is the second time on this wheel this has done it. So what else is going on that I'm missing? I know it sounds kind of minor, but why does this keep happening? Well, I happen to have some other center caps, so even that's loose in here. What the heck? All right, I'm gonna get one of the other center caps. They happen to be black, but I'm going to go rob the mechanism out of it and see if we can't maybe put some RTV on these mounting contacts to give a little bit of a cushion and glue at the same time. But I don't think I want to do this job again, so I'm gonna get some pieces. They're all like new. Black center cap. Now this one, the stud's not all messed up. But I don't want a black center cap with 3 red ones, so might just go there. This thing's rattling, so we're gonna bend these little tabs back out a little bit. That should silence the rattle. I'm gonna put this guy on here. Well, hold on. I got burned by this once before too. This screw was actually loose and of course caused the same problem. Oh, in this case, no, that's tight. Okay. I'm gonna launch my screw. I think if this happens again, my next thing is to just drill these holes out larger and go with a bigger bolt, like maybe a 1/4 20 or something like that. But we're gonna try this one more time and hope for the best. We already took care of the one rattle. I really have to hit it, but now that don't rattle anymore, so that's a plus. I think what we're gonna do differently though. Okay. Okay, now listen to that. No more rattles. Put this back on. I think that's going to do it for this go around on at least what we're going to do on the pumpkin today. I'll go here and check out our checklist, but a couple things else kind of left I wanted to show you. I cleaned out the garage if those didn't figure that out yet. And I found some goodies, but nonetheless, let's make sure. Exhaust leak, AC inoperative, put that thing under a vacuum, held overnight, put about a half a can charge in it, held for 2 weeks, so I went ahead and filled up the AC so we can mark it off. Lug nuts we just did, center caps taken care of, and seat belts. So we're done with that list, but check this out. This is the original build sheet to the pumpkin. Unfortunately, the part that's most important is the VIN number is missing from it. But one of the cool things about it says tag brass hat. I've heard of conflicting stories what that means, but I'm going to give that back to the owner because I found that while I was going through a bunch of files. The other thing else I found is the world's probably the cheapest 69 Firebird, because here's all that's left. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it at this point, but I may just keep this for wall art or someone wants it. I guess we figure something out, but I'm not even sure what I can do with it. But either way, this is all that we kept from that car at Louie's house out there. But I found that in a box just the same, and I hate to throw it away, but I really don't know what to do with it. But it was a 1969 Firebird convertible, originally set up as a 6-cylinder car. I don't think it was a Sprint, but there you go nonetheless. Kind of cool little fun stuff that I found. Okay, that one is done, that is done, that is done, that is done, and guess what just showed up today right here in my box right here? We'll go ahead and take this off my list. Extensions. Ta-da! What that is, check these out here, just a machined plate. So you can move the seat back either 1.5 or 2 inches. We're going to go to the full 2-inch sitting it back, but all you have to do essentially is just unbolt the seat. bolt these in place and bolt it back together. So I don't think I'm gonna spend a whole lot of time on it, but this is the last thing I wanted to do on the list before I get it back to them. And literally, the parts just showed up just in time. And it's really just as simple as taking both front bolts out and the rear bolts out of the seats, and then bolting our plates on, and then moving the seat back. There's your 5-minute mod that's completely reversible. Like I said, it just relocates the seat back further. Use your factory seat bolt here into the floor pan. It comes with the new hardware here, which looks to be metric, of course, but it's all right. It works. All done. All 4 corners are done. That mod is finished. And now we're done. So now that we're done messing around with everybody else's cars, time to get back to mine. As you can tell, it looks a little bit different because I've been tinkering with it just a little bit. And I've been sorting through parts here on the GTO. I bought this car, did some sheet metal work to it, but I never took the box out. You should have saw us when we got this thing out of storage. I was there with 2 of my friends. The lady selling had a couple guys there. And basically it was a storage unit just full of stuff. And they determined it went with the GTO. They put it in the trunk. They put it in the car. And then I loaded on the trailer. I never really went through all the boxes. So it's been kind of a nice little treasure hunt going through some of that and discovering what I do and don't have, or things that I didn't know that was in there. So it's kind of fun. But anyway, enough of that. We're gonna work on doing the old high school car up first until we hit a roadblock. That roadblock is probably going to be heat for painting this thing here in the garage. It has just been insanely hot here this year, and I don't know weather-wise when I'll be able to paint it, but I'm gonna get everything ready to paint. Then we'll jump into that. But I got some videos on block sanding, some stuff that I've learned. So don't forget to stay tuned, check us back out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? We have a lot of fun here playing cars and sharing the adventures with you. So anyway, enough of all that. I will grab the camera and get back out here working on this, and I hope to see you all then.